Hello. Testing. Okay, it works. Welcome back to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. After 4 months of not posting anything for you, I've mustered up the courage to come back and do my best to explain what I've been up to in a very short way. And I've been thinking about how can I bring value in this episode rather than just a life update. And but I guess for those of you who've been listening, you might be curious about what's going on with me. And if you haven't seen it on my social media, I have been clearly obsessed with freestyling lately. I actually made a whole podcast freestyling, and the whole podcast was a freestyle. Unfortunately, I couldn't post it because it had all music in it, and yes, Spotify and these platforms don't let me do that. So I'm working on a YouTube channel, and that will come through for more freestyles. And I'll keep this one to the chats. So I am now in Melbourne, in Australia. I'll be living here for the next year. And so a lot of things have shifted for me since I last was on the podcast, which I was in Thailand last time that I was here. And my entire life is different. Everything has been turned upside down in very amazing ways. But I actually feel like everything is different since then. When I last recorded an episode, it was the very beginning of the year, and it was kind of a let's get going on this year, all this inspiring stuff and what I've learned about myself over the last couple of years. At that time, I was deep into entrepreneurial endeavors. I was working as a digital nomad, and I was working in sales. I was life coaching, social media coaching, content creation for people, and I was just all in with so many different jobs. And this is something I did for pretty hard for 7 months that I was in Thailand. And I definitely had my entrepreneur hat on for my time there, and it was great. I had so much drive. I was working 12 hours a day. It was insane, and I enjoyed it. And now I'm I'm an unemployed, kind of feeling like almost a freeloader, just couch hopping, homeless, unemployed girl in a city. And I have no longer do I have any of those jobs that I did before. And I decided to leave all of it, and for varying reasons. It's just, and I'd say the biggest thing is that I'm following my joy, and those things weren't bringing me the joy that I know that I can have by as things were evolving within those jobs. And I'm just following where I know my heart is being called. And when I left Thailand to come to this side of the world, I just dropped everything. I mean, most of it was my own business endeavors, so it was kind of I quit Digital Nomad Adventures, so that was one thing that I did. I left that team gracefully and beautifully. But my own business that I was creating, and I was having all of this delayed gratification work on this for a long time, and I just stopped it. I continued posting content, but the only thing I wanted to post about was freestyling. So as some of you know, because I've made a podcast about this before, I got into freestyle rapping about 8 or 9 months ago when I was in Thailand, and it's changed my life. 100% changed my life. It just became a thing that I did every single day after I learned it, and somehow evolved into now this is all I want to do. I mean, I have other aspirations, but it's all centered around creativity. And I was honestly tapped out of my creativity for a long time, or just for a while, maybe for a year or something. I stopped painting murals. I put on the entrepreneur hat and just was so loving my digital nomad life, and I put down all the creative sides of myself. And now it's quite the opposite. I put down all the entrepreneur stuff, and now I'm just flooded with creativity, and I'm having a hard time deciding where to put my energy, in this all these creative endeavors that I want to do, such as freestyling, of course. That's taking up like most of my energy and time. I've also learned to DJ in the last few months, and I'm very passionate about ecstatic dance. If you don't know ecstatic dance, it's basically a journey of, it's like a DJ set, but you go there, it's a sober event, and you just go there to completely just let your body free to move however it wants. And people dance like crazy people. Yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy things, like psychotic breakdowns you see people having. You see people tapped into their animalistic self. This is myself. Like, I would attend these often in Thailand, and it's transformative and actually life-changing events that you can go to. And I wanted to do that, and I do want to do that as a DJ and create my own sets like this and take people on that journey. And then dance has always been a thing for me, a big thing that I love, through ecstatic dance mostly, but just dancing to any music that I love. I feel, I tapped into some higher levels of this also when I was in Thailand, so that place definitely changed my life. And yeah, so now here I am. I'm in a city where it definitely costs more to live here than it did in Thailand. And I'm now I've just reached the 2-year mark I've been traveling now for 2 years. And it's, the money that I saved up for this has taken me a long way and given me tons of opportunities. And yeah, I'm at the point now where I'm starting to make decisions based on money and think about it, but I have the room still to decide to go with where my joy is taking me, right? So I still don't see myself going and working I'll never work a job that I don't want to work just for money. I know that I don't need to do that, and I won't do that. And it's exciting for me because I have this drive, this creative drive. I mean, even inspired to paint again, potentially, right? And I know that whichever avenue I want to take this, I can make money this way. I just need to be all in and make sure that I have the discipline that I know that I have tapped into before. And but I've just been allowing myself to experience being almost like a teenager again, but a teenager with way more freedom and having way more fun, and with much higher self-esteem than the average teenager, right? So it is a beautiful life, and it's been so much fun. And yeah, so here I am. I'm starting again a new chapter, a huge new chapter. I mean, I wasn't even planning to move to Melbourne, and through a series of things made me decide this, because my plan was to go visit New Zealand and Australia and then go back to Vancouver for the summer and potentially stay there like 6 months or stay there for a longer period. And then I think a lot of the decision, it was around freestyling, actually, because there's a really awesome hip-hop community here in Australia, and I also started dating somebody who's also a freestyler, and it's been a lot of fun. And he and I tapped into something together that we feel there's something behind this, there's something we can do with this, and it's become like an obsession that we both have, and then we've just been supporting each other, and I want to see where that goes. So that partnership is definitely a big reason for why I decided to get a working visa here, which is crazy for me because I never thought. I actually specifically said, I'm not going to be staying in any country just for like a relationship, and that I will never change my hard set plans of I'm single, I'm doing me, I'm living my life, and I don't want a long-term relationship. But these things show up sometimes, and it's a lot easier said than done to actually follow through like that. So I'm still in the works of digesting all of this and really understanding what is actually going to happen here, because the idea of being in a relationship is crazy to me. And the episode's not about that, but that is part of the reason why I'm here, and it's actually, I think, a lot of the reason for why I'm here, not just physically but mentally. I'm mentally and emotionally, I'm all in with this freestyling, and I was so passionate and obsessed with it even before meeting this person, but now having him in my life, it's just up leveled it a lot. And so we'll see where this takes us. And I definitely see myself continuing to travel the world no matter what. Like, this is going to happen. It's happening currently, and as soon as I'm done here, I'm moving on to the next continent. And so another thing related to the freestyling that I've been working on is I'm creating an app. I mean, it's the beginning stages, but it's been moving along so smoothly that it feels like this is something that could actually happen, and it is happening, it seems. And it is a freestyle app, and it takes your freestyle, you freestyle into your phone, you record it, and it sends it off to an AI generator where it generates you an animation based on your freestyle. So the words that you use in the freestyle will turn it into a movie or an animation. So you can basically watch your freestyle come to life, and you can, it's basically like waking up in the morning and hitting play on a dream, because freestyle is, it literally emulates a dream, and it shows the deep inner workings of your mind. And this is why I love it so much, is I've been able to learn a lot about myself through the art of freestyling. And I thought I knew myself pretty well, and like a lot of the things that I say aren't so surprising, but sometimes it is, and it can get very deep, very emotional. And to be able to connect with other people this way and freestyle with others and see the inner workings of their mind is very powerful. And it's been such an incredible journey, and it's just the beginning. My skills of freestyling are only getting better every day, and it's so exciting. So other features of the app, in case you're interested, there's also going to be a random word generator, because that's a good way to practice freestyling, is with a random word generator. But you get to pick your own topics and your own words and input them, because I find that the ones that exist now are really boring. The words that they use are really boring. And then also a live translator. So when you're freestyling with somebody who speaks a different language, then you can translate it to, you can watch the subtitles in the moment in front of them. So this is my new baby that I'm working on. I've been meeting with potential investors, and people have been helping me and coaching me along this, because I don't know how to make an app. That's not something I ever thought that I would do. It's not something I even want to do. I just want the app to exist. So I'm going with it because it feels very aligned with obviously what I'm doing right now. And just because things have been opening up with this app, like I brought the idea up to people and I'm getting support around it. People are saying, yes, it's a great idea, that they would use it. And I figured that it was actually the moment that I knew, okay, I'm going to go for this, it was when I was talking with my cousin. Shout out to Alana, I love you. I was talking to her about the app, and right away she was like, I know people who can help you with this potentially, because she works for a company that's helps investing, kind of like Shark Tank situation, and helps investors find investors for startup companies. Sorry. So as soon as she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like a sign. Okay, let's do it. So I met with somebody, and he's super keen to help me and has been guiding me and helping me, which is super generous of him to give me his time like this, because he believes in me, I can feel. So it's these little signs from the universe that are kind of pushing me, like, yes, you should go do this. And I just follow these breadcrumbs. The idea just came to me, and I probably wouldn't have done anything about it if it didn't really feel like the doors were opening, and doors seem to be opening around it. So I'm just going for it. And and I'll tell you the part about this that I love the most, that I think is so awesome and just such a gangster move, which is that if you haven't seen my Instagram, I've been getting a lot of hate on my posts about my freestyling for the last ever since I've been posting them, basically. And just like insane amounts of hate. Like, my posts have been going viral, but with only haters, people hating what I'm doing, and commenting and saying really nasty things. And it's been fine for me because, I just remind myself the hate is 'cause the anus, and it doesn't affect me so much. And actually it affects me in a positive way, in a sense, because I now have all this engagement, and I looked at all the posts, and I averaged out the amount of views that they've gotten out of all of the posts that I've made of myself freestyling, and it's averaging on 75,000 views, which is insane. All haters. And that is the number that I'm bringing to the investors and saying, hey, like, I have this, and I have this engagement, and I have, to give myself credibility, because they don't really care, and they don't, I don't think they will care to see what kind of engagement it is. It's like, this is the numbers, and if this is the kind of engagement I can get with the wrong audience, I can only imagine like how the engagement will get with the right audience once it does reach that. And as I continue to build my skills in freestyling, it's only going to get to that place. I'm confident in that fact, and I do have enough supporters that I do feel confident that, yes, my social media will help this creation of the app. So that's one thing that's been pretty huge in my field over the last month and a half. That's when the idea came to me. It was about a month and a half ago, and it's transpired this way. So I will keep you updated on that for sure. But I know, for me, that's just it hasn't happened yet, right? But the day that I just keep imagining the day that this app really goes through. I have the investors, it's all happening, and I get to, thank the haters for all that they did to support me. And without realizing they were supporting me, they actually helped me make this app a thing. And that it's such a powerful move, because I'm taking something that could have destroyed me or could have teared me down. I could have stopped. Like, so many people were asking me to stop freestyling, and not asking, like ordering and saying, anyways. And I could have listened to that. And I do thank, certain people in my life for supporting me and encouraging me through, reminding me that I am, killing it in the freestyles, and I'm improving every day. And even though I'm not perfect, and I've posted some pretty embarrassingly horrible freestyles of myself, I posted those because I want to also share. One, I want to be able to look back at my growth and how much I've fine-tuned this craft, and how, as you get better and better at something, as you keep working at something, you will get better. It's just a skill, right? I'm not talented at freestyling. I'm building the skills. And if you can go and watch the first video I posted of my first open mic, it was horrible and just purely super embarrassing. I can't even think about it. When I do, I cringe. And to look back at that time and compared to how I am now, it's empowering for me. And I hope that it's empowering for other people, and kind of a permission that you can be not perfect at something and you can still share it with the world, because I've been passionate about freestyling since I started, and that's why I'm posting about it. And I'm even, it doesn't have to be perfect before I post it. And it only makes it that much better when you get to see how it started. So yeah, so whatever that thing is for you, I mean, I think a lot of people, especially a lot of women, want to make sure that they've got all their things sorted, everything's perfect before they start the business, or do the thing, create the social media platform and have everything ready. But I'd say it's better just to start and just share yourself, share what you want to share, bring to the world what you know that you are ready to bring, and it'll all sort itself out, over time, and the right people will see it. One part about this open mic I also just want to mention, because now that it's in my memory, it's another amazing thing that came out of that memory, like that actual event, was, yes, I bombed. I did terribly. And as embarrassing as it was to show up like that and be so vulnerable and to do so bad, I don't regret it at all, because it gave me an entire group of friends that I wouldn't have met otherwise, potentially. Because I showed up on that open mic and I did that, people ended up coming up to me after and told me how much they loved it, and were encouraging it and saying they loved it, even though it was horrible, obviously. But of course, even if it's not good, which usually when I go up on a microphone and I'm in front of people, I'm not nearly as good as I am when I'm alone. And even then, people can feel my energy, and it's not really about the bars. It's not about me spitting these amazing bars and having this amazing flow that, I would love to have. People just pick up on the energy. And so they'll come and compliment me and say, I loved what you did up there. That was so vulnerable. That was so cool, whatever. And because that's what matters to people, really. And that, because I had a few people, I think I made 10 friends that night. We all created a whole freestyle circle within that one night, the first day I got to Pi, where this happened. And none of those people I would have met if I didn't get up on that mic. They wouldn't have known that I freestyle, and I wouldn't know that they freestyle. And so, yeah, I ended up creating a group chat with everyone, and we all ciphered together, freestyled together times after that. And it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to get up there and show myself and just be authentic and vulnerable, and just be like, hey, here I am, here's what I love. And I knew that my people would find me. And I don't know if in that moment I knew it, or if I realized after that, wow, that was a great idea, because look what happened. I can't really remember. But now I know that getting up on a mic means that my people will find me. They will see me, and they'll approach me when they really resonate with what I'm saying or how I'm being. So that's why I love being kind of a loud person. I'm a bit of not such a loud person vocally. I'm not yelling all the time, but I definitely take up space with my energy, and I like this because it gives people who resonate, and my people who I want to find all over the world, they'll find me, and that will create the relationships that that I've always dreamed of, and it has. That's what's happened. And that's how I've met some of my closest friends now. It's just because we're all being shamelessly ourselves, and that energy is noticeable, especially from people who also kind of have that energy. So so that's just another empowering moment that I wanted to share. So a few things that I've learned about myself and just about life since I've last been on here, that I will share. One lesson I learned, which is the fact that I can make emotional decisions. So, like I said, my reason that I moved to Melbourne was definitely very influenced by a romantic relationship I have going on with someone who lives here. And in the moment, I don't even think that my conscious mind was there. It was a mixture of many factors. I also have friends here, a house that I'm going to live in with them, and just there's many things. I loved it when I arrived here, and but that was definitely, now looking back, I'm like, that's definitely the reason, the biggest reason for why I stayed. And that was a very emotional decision. I don't regret it, but I do feel I made the decision in a very impulsive way. It was right after being with him in Thailand where we met, and we had just spent a week together, and our last night together was very intense, did some psychedelics, and it was just like, wow, like just very powerful. One of the most powerful evenings I've had in my life. And coming from that state and this energy of psychedelics plus love and all of that stuff, I was in no state to make a decision that's so life altering, like moving to a new country for a year. That's a huge decision, and that changes my life forever. And I made that decision very quickly. I arrived, and I within a few days I had decided this is what I'm doing, booked a flight to leave the country so that I could get a working visa and come back. And I asked a few people for advice, and I did talk about it with a few people, but I didn't do my due diligence enough, and I didn't talk to everybody who this would affect, including my partner, who this would literally completely shake up his life completely, right? So I learned that I need to wait and make decisions, at least a week or two after being in this high emotional state. I could have waited longer, and I just felt in that moment. I am also trusting that in that moment I knew, yes, this is what I'm doing, and I followed it. But I'm just thinking about a conversation I had with a friend of mine about human design, which I know not very much about. I haven't even done my own because I'm trying to find my birth time, but what she says about one of the most important things that she learned from human design was that she learned how she makes decisions and how she should make decisions. Everybody makes decisions in kind of a different way, but there's kind of different categories of, some people are very impulsive, they make decisions right away from their intuition. Some people kind of overthink and for a long time and just never actually decide on anything. There's things like this. So it's important, is what she taught me, and I can really feel that now, is that it's important to know what is best for you, because for some people, if your natural tendency is to overthink and wait so long for decisions and not really make clear decisions, then it is probably better for you to go with your first instinct, right? So that you don't go through that spiraling process of indecision. But for somebody like me, who tends to have that right away, yes, all in attitude, and just know that something may be right for me and feel it, it's important for me to take that and just allow it to sit with me for a while. And even though I feel like it's a full body yes, it's very important for me to sit with it and make sure that it is not just purely coming from emotion, because I'm a woman. Women make emotional decisions, right? And emotions should be our guides, not the reason we make all decisions. Because if we make every decision based on emotion, that would be chaos. Because there's so many emotions that, and with certain events, they're going to be almost drunkening. I don't know if that's a word, but like intoxicating, So, especially with an emotion like love, that one is the most intoxicating one of all, if you can even call that an emotion. I'm not sure. So, I learned that lesson. I did feel some regret after deciding to go through this whole thing, spend $1,000 on a working visa, leave the country, come back, all of this stuff. I did regret it for a minute, and I felt like, wow, what have I just done? This, I didn't know if it was the right move. But I just trusted that, hey, I made the decision. And though it's not like it's irreversible, I could decide just not to stay that whole time. But I do trust that this is the right thing for me. And next time something like this happens, I'm definitely going to hold this decision for longer and make sure that it is fully thought out, fully thought out, and I'm not in an emotional state. So another thing that I've learned about myself is that I'm a visionary artist. Like, I it's funny to say because I feel like I've always been such a creative person, but because I was shut off from my creativity for a while I was kind of deeper into when I was tour guiding and into my life of being a digital nomad, I was so in these other worlds of like travel industry, and then personal development, digital nomad stuff, like all of that, those career endeavors, which I loved so much. I definitely chose those, and I just put down all my creativity because the only thing that I thought I was really creative or good at was painting, which I'd never really had that huge of a passion for. I don't actually miss it that much. And it was just something I received a lot of validation for, and and I stopped doing that, which felt right for me. And so I just put down all the creative stuff. I was never painting because that was my creative outlet. Other than this podcast, I guess this would be also a creative outlet. So so now that I've been in the world of freestyling and music, this whole world of music has just hit me like a truck, and it just like blew me off of a mountain and just free falling into this whole new abyss of life that I've never tapped into. I've always loved music. I've always thought of myself as someone who has great music taste and all of this stuff. I mean, everyone thinks that, and the only thing that could have predicted this is actually I've always wanted to be a DJ. Like, even before I was pursuing the policing career, which for like from like 10 years old to 22 years old, that was my career path. But even before that, I always thought about what would be the most fun career. Would be DJing, like just being up there at a festival, playing, amazing tunes for everyone to have a great time. I thought that would be the most amazing, or just the most fun career ever, because I love festivals and all of this. But I didn't feel like I could make a difference this way in the world, and that was my mindset at the time. I just felt like I was called to a different purpose than that, because of course we need our DJs, so you are doing amazing work in the world, those people. But I felt that I was called to a higher, some sort of mission around personal development, helping people with their mindset, their goals, their vibration, and these things that I've been talking about on the podcast, because this is so natural to me, and I do feel I thrive in this context. So I never pursued music at all. It was just something that I didn't feel that I actually could make a difference with. So I put that on the back burner, or I just kind of took it away. I just canceled it. I'm like, okay, that would be maybe in another life, that would be fun, but I have a different mission. And it was my time in Thailand that just completely shifted things for me. And with the ecstatic dance, like I was explaining before, this showed me a whole nother world of what music actually can be and what you can do with music. Mixing all of these genres of different music from different cultures and different languages and different energies, and just completely take people on a journey that will elicit emotions in them that they may have never experienced. And just to be in that kind of energy has totally changed my perception of what music can really do for people. And so that opened the door for me, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to learn to DJ while I'm in Thailand, which I did. And then of course the freestyling came into my life. And so and of course I've always been interested in dancing. I've always been I feel a good dancer, and I've always loved it. And it wasn't until a festival in Thailand that I realized that actually like people respond to the way that I show up on the dance floor. Like, I can feel the energy, and I've made an episode about this before, about like one of the managers of the festival coming up to my friends and I and being like, please come to this stage because we love your energy. Like, you're making people more like having a good time. You're making people dance and stuff just by being yourself, which was such an amazing experience, because I just never thought of myself as like, wow, I can just be a dancer. Like, what if I could actually do this, go to festivals all over the world and just dance the way that I want to dance? And it could be my part of my career. Like, how cool would that be? So yeah, I guess right now I'm just in such a crossroads between these three things, and I know I don't have to choose just one, but I also am honoring that I feel it's the best move for me to really hone in on one thing at a time and just be all in with that. And then the other things I can still do. But when it comes to career moves, big career moves, what is the best thing for me to do right now? So I do feel the freestyling is, because of where I am, who I'm with, and this app I'm working on, the freestyling is taking the forefront of my energy. And we'll see what happens with the other things. But, just being in this, just with the feedback I've gotten and just what I've learned about myself through music is that, wow, I'm a creative explosion of expression. And if I really just give myself that space to be and do all of it and not worry about what people think or worry about security or worry about, just go and do it because this is what feels good. I'm really realizing that, wow, like this is what I'm meant to be doing. I am an artist, and I didn't even think I was an artist for so long. And even after the short mural career that I had, still after that didn't really consider myself an artist because I stopped painting. But there's so much more to art than painting, right? There's so much more. And I feel like I'm tapping into all different kinds of this. So I'm following my joy, and this is what it looks like. It's chaotic, it's creative, it's so exciting, and it's a lot of air energy. When I say air, like the earth signs, like the earth, air, fire, water signs. And I've been learning about this a lot through Ayurveda, which is the world's oldest health system from India. I read a textbook on this just about a month ago, and it's been like huge in my life. I think I'll make a separate episode on what I've learned through Ayurveda because it's really powerful and life-changing. But that is something that it's been so much in my field and I've made so many shifts in my life based on like shifts in what I eat and realizing that like certain behaviors and lifestyles are going to increase my constitution even more, which is Vata, if you know Ayurveda. If I, continuing to live in this crazy, chaotic, creative state of, very uncertainty and almost like unreliability, it's only going to increase my Vata, which is already my primary constitution, which is like, I don't want that. I want them to be balanced. So this may mean nothing to you at the moment because I haven't explained it, but I will do that in the next coming episodes. So I want to just leave this here, this whole episode of me explaining where my mind has been at, where my heart is, and the most important things that have shifted for me in the last 4 months. And I hope that it's not just me talking and updating the people who love me, but actually planting a seed for anyone who feels that it's time for them to follow their joy. So if it's your time to follow your joy, if you feel like you're not following your joy, if you feel like you're being called to something, a certain creative endeavor, or just a business thing, or whatever it is that you feel called to do, curious about, following that curiosity, I think is the most rewarding thing that you can do, and it will work out in your favor. It always does. It's kind of impossible for it not to. I think the only way it could not work out in your favor is if you just don't follow it in the first place. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm curious about how it's going to turn out. So thank you so much for listening to this. And let me know what you think. If you're happy to have the podcast back, let me know. And this is the start, the restart of the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I'll be back every week. I'm sorry to leave you hanging like this, but I'm ready to go again. So I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I would absolutely love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes and also Spotify or wherever you're listening to the podcast through. And what I will do is, for anybody that leaves me a review and sends me a screenshot through Instagram, I will personally send you my 30+ hour playlist. This playlist is very special to me. It has been crafted by me for the last 3 years, and I've never met a person who does not love it. And this is just another way that we can be beautifully connected through creativity. So send me a picture of your review. My Instagram is Friendly Frequencies, and I cannot wait to share this music with you. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening and for supporting me along this journey. I appreciate you. I love you, and have a good one. I'll see you next week.